I'd like to firstly thank you all for coming to that new places here. I think we're going to know 90% of you are expecting like a very small audience, but that's great. I'd also like to thank Norm and Glasgow, of course, who you just saw for getting this event together for the World Tours. For those who don't know, my name is Johnny Wilson. I was born and raised in the southeast part of England. I was talking to 3 people here today actually. That was extensive travel, which made mine quite minimal actually. But I'm a place called Southend-on-Sea, which is approximately 40 miles east of East London. And I spent the first 20 years of my life there. I legally left school at the age of 15, and probably about 4 or 5 months later, I started to get heavily involved in the UK punk rock scene, which at the time was still pretty prominent in England. There's a few punk rockers around today, but the models like coloured hair, the mohawks, and in my case, dirty clothes that were washed, and hanging out with friends in squats at the time, in different parts of England in their bedsits. And then 2 days after my 20th birthday, I kind of really had enough of what Mighty Blighty had to offer me at the time, and I thought to myself, you know what, it's really time to start to just get out there, travel the world, and just to see what was really going on in other parts of the world. And at that time, many of my friends were getting mortgages, having children, even the age of 16, 17 when I was younger. I was just like, wow, there's nothing wrong with that. I thought there's so much more out there. And when I was a kid, my Uncle David, who was a world traveller at the time, I don't know where he went, but I always remember as a child, he'd bring back from Africa, for example, like a leather money belt. When he came to the States back in the 70s, I always remember this, he'd bring back a big gold, which he probably always must be able to remember this, the big old American gold, silver dollar coin back in the day. I think it stopped in 1990, I always remember that. But anyway, so in the 9.5 to 10 years that I started, from when I first started travelling, which was Sunday, July 12th, 1987, I went through probably 10 countries. More specifically, my hitchhiking was around Australia, where I was just talking to a couple of lines, something very similar to myself. But I travelled around Australia, both islands of New Zealand, 42 of the United States, back and forth, up and down, and almost one side of Canada to the other, up to Alaska, etc., etc. And during this time period, with the old, as you all recall, the old 4x6 film back in the day, you get the film, so you can get the relative setup. Long gone are those days, it's the modern generation. But I took about 32,000 photographs over the years, and probably 25,000 of my travels alone. And in 1991, which was approximately 3 to 3.5 years into my travels, I was back home, finishing up in circumstance for a few months, and I said to myself, you know what, and it's something I think we've all said during our lifetimes, or we've listened to our grandparents tell stories, and you just sit there intrigued as a child. And it's something I've often said to people, like I said it to 2 people today, why did you write a book about it? Why did you listen to friends, memoirs down to your children, your children's children can learn from it and share for future generations. And in my case, I think it was more unique in that when I did travel, it wasn't like someone from National Geographic where the plane is paid for, the motels and hotels are paid for when you get there. You've got the convenience of all that before you start. You can just basically wake up one morning and refresh yourself, have a shower, and you've got your camera equipment, you can go out to these wonderful photographs, but everything's all set up for you. In my case, it's very different. About a year after I started travelling, that's when the real travelling started. That was in Australia. And in Australia, you hitchhike with your index finger out, whereas over here, I think it's the same for states like this, other parts of the world, you wave your hand around, and you put a sign out, whatever it might be. But I think what was unique about my story was the fact that in the, I'd say, probably 8 to 8.5 years I was actually on the road hitchhiking for, I never once told any single person who gave me a ride that I was technically homeless, that I didn't really have an actual destination unless it was someone somewhere, obviously in the direction I was going, that I was going to stay with. And in the, like I said, the 8 to 8.5 years I was on the road for, I slept about 8 nights. I never once paid for a hotel, never once paid for a motel, and the whole time I was on the road during that time period, the accommodation was given to me from the very people who picked up hitchhiker. And that is what I think was unique about this story. It was just different. And so in 1991, to get back to my original point, I had returned for a few months due to unforeseen circumstances. And back in that era, for those of you that are computer literate, it's a big old, not the small one, it's a big old 5-inch floppy era. We used to bend this thing to a garbage. Held very little memory of stuff or information. And I had a friend who at the time was very expensive, he actually had a computer, and he said to me, Johnny, you know, the keys to my store are yours, and 5 million. Finished about 6 or 7 in the morning, and I spent months and months just typing out at that point, which the book is about, the first 70 pages are about life, and then page 70 I think to 27 pages, it goes into his first 3 to 3 years of my travels, and I just started to jot down on the computer my travels, and that was back in 1991, and at that time period, again I use some expression that you may know, or may have known people who did this, we were like, I think the term was banned in press places, more so in New York, where you give these people, you know, like thousands of dollars, and you get maybe 100, 500,000 copies of the done. You pick them up and they deliver to your house, and basically the whole idea was, it's very hard to get published by somebody. You just stuff them in your garage, your house is outside, you put 1,000 books in there, and you try your best to sell the books to friends, co-workers, neighbours, etc. And the end of the speech is before I get into the photographs or photographs there is the advantage over the years, what the technology getting better, computers advancing, the era of the cell phone, etc., etc. The nice thing today is you've got the term, which I'm sure some of you have heard, print on demand. And you can just literally, like my book was on, they're there, my book was on Amazon right now, it's on Freedom on the Highway, which my mum made many years ago, by myself, it was Johnny Anderson. But these days, I've got people in England ordering the book on a Wednesday, and by Friday morning it's at their doorstep. Whereas about 20, 25 years ago, you know, it was a big deal to get it sorted out, and you had to wait X amount of weeks to get the book, and you could sell them yourself. So that's my little speech, and I've showed a few pictures. Normally asked me to set this up to get about 30, 35 pictures together, so I'll go for like a little slideshow, I think is the old-fashioned term for it. And these are